On last week's episode, I did tell you guys that they struggle in Jacksonville.
You did. This is beyond struggle.
I said it, I would have not bet on the Colts. Don't trust them. They don't win in Jacksonville.
But he goes and picks Indianapolis.
You have to.
You didn't have to. If you were really that confident.
Well, when I bet, I picked on the Jack spread for sure. And I won some money.
Good job.
It's a shame that on the show, your livelihood couldn't stand on that.
The Jags have won 8 in a row against the Colts in Jacksonville.
Impressive.
It's embarrassing.
Dating back to 2003, the Colts have played 361 games and have been shut out 3 times, all by the Jaguars. It's something about Jacksonville. When the Colts go on the road there, they don't play well. Watching this game, my instant reaction after watching it, this was worse than a Wentz loss. This was significantly worse.
Well, which Wentz loss?
Last year.
Week 18.
Week 18, yeah.
Had the Colts faced the Jaguars week 18, Matt Ryan would be out of town right now. Frank Reich would be fired. Chris Ballard would be fired. This was that embarrassing of a performance. Now, it is important to note, Darius Leonard didn't play. Michael Pittman Jr. didn't play. I even throw Alec Pierce in there.
You have to.
But this is just more. This is more than an issue of your best players not playing. The offensive coaching I thought was abysmal. Frank Reich was abysmal. Jonathan Taylor had 5 carries for 5 yards in the first half. The Colts don't have their best receiver in Michael Pittman. Their starters are Ashton Doolin, Paris Campbell.
Your guy.
And I can't even name the other guys. Densman, Patman. I really can't.
A lot of your guys.
And JT gets 5 carries for 5 yards in the first half. A lot of the drives were stalled by either the Jags stuffing the run, sacks, and then giving up extreme pressure, and penalties that just set them back. The red zone offense was also abysmal later in the game. The defensive coaching. The Jags had 17 more minutes time of possession. They both had 11 drives. The Colts had 9 first downs on the day in total. Gus Bradley, and this is something I may have overlooked in the offseason. Gus Bradley, their defensive coordinator, has been with 3 different teams in the last 3 years, the Colts being the third. Each year, it's been a bottom 20 defense. Gus Bradley is still living off the coattails of his Legion of Boom days, but he's been a bad defensive coach. Jonathan Taylor's 9 carries on the day were the fewest since 2020.
Embarrassing.
54 rushing yards was the lowest since 2019. Matt Ryan was sacked 5 times, 10 quarterback hits, and threw 3 interceptions for the first time in his career. This was Matt's worst performance.
It's almost like 2022 is not 2016. Crazy how that works.
And, I know that you're going to say that, and you can say that all you want. But when watching the game, if you come away from it thinking, Matt Ryan was a problem, I really can't help you. Matt Ryan had his worst performance. Did he make some mistakes? Yes, he did.
It was dog shit.
But the problem is more than just Matt Ryan. And I don't think Matt Ryan is the biggest problem in Indy.
No.
I think that he's still a good quarterback. Obviously, this week didn't show it. But week 1, 350-plus yards, a touchdown, 1 INT. If Rodrigo Blankenship makes a field goal, the Colts have a win. He was about to lead a game-winning drive in a fourth-quarter comeback. Week 1. Week 2, it fell apart. But Matt Ryan isn't any more washed than Phillip Rivers was in 2020. They're both capable quarterbacks. The difference is that Colts team had a better supporting cast around Rivers, and right now it seems like the Colts are deteriorating. The wide receivers outside of Pittman is the worst unit in the NFL.
We knew this.
The offensive line, Matt Pryor and Brashard Raymond have been interchanging, and they've both been equally bad. They both allow a significant amount of pressure. The offensive line is probably the most disappointing unit so far in football. They are the highest paid unit, and they are horrific. They are bad. Last year, they were bad in pass block. They were bad in pass pro, too. This year, they're not even a good run blocking team. Secondary, Stephon Gilmore was supposed to be a good pickup. He's shown flashes, but I saw him get beat by Evan Ingram multiple times.
Problem.
And the other outside corner, Brandon Faison, he's not very good. But the biggest problem with the Colts is coaching as of right now. This used to be a Colts staff that arguably had the best coaches in the NFL. You had Frank Reich as a head coach, coaching staff in the NFL. Guess who their OC was? Nick Sirianni. The guy who's with Philly. In his first year, went to the playoffs. In his second year, Jalen Hurts looks like a legit star quarterback so far.
All knowers know.
The Eagles are off to a tremendous start. Their offense is what? By a landslide.
Number 1 yards per
Number
game.
1. That's Nick Sirianni. In 2020, he designed the plays for the Colts. Frank Reich called them. He left. He brought Jonathan Gannon with him, who was a secondary coach in Indy. He's a DC for the Eagles, and he gave Minnesota hell with his man coverage looks on Monday Night Football. Those are 2 great coaches that left that were part of your coaching staff. Who else? Matt Eberflus, head coach for the Chicago Bears. When Matt Eberflus came to Indy was one of the worst defenses in the league. He had them in the top 10 consistently every year where he was there. He got the best out of his players. And you can say, although the offense has been disappointing in Chicago, they don't have much talent. The defense, with the limited talent, has been getting after it.
Decent, for sure.
So Frank Reich is the only guy left in a coaching staff that used to be the best. They don't have that same coaching staff anymore. I think that's a huge downgrade. And he's not good in September. He's 5-11 in September. In 2018, with Andrew Luck, he started off 1-5. In 2020, with Carson Wentz, started out 0-3. His best 2 starts were with Jacoby Brissett and with Phillip Rivers 3-2 and 3-1.
That was 2020. Carson Wentz.
That was Phillip Rivers.
Oh, sorry. Pardon me.
Frank Reich is not good in September. The Colts get off to slow starts, and the start of their season is tricky because you had Houston week 1, and they're not good week 1. You had at Jacksonville week 2, and they have a losing streak in Jacksonville. You have KC up next. This is a tough schedule. And then they have the Titans in week 4, week 5, and they're 1-4 in the last 5 matches with the Titans.
So they suck in division.
So this is
that
division. They don't suck in division. It's just Houston week 1.
Sorry, week 1 they suck.
They're not good.
They suck against Jacksonville. They suck against Tennessee,
which is the division.
It's a tricky part to their season.
It's not tricky. It's Houston, Jacksonville,
the start of their season.
Hey man, the Broncos
was
beat
very
Texans.
Tricky. I know y'all been shitting on me, right?
Chris Ballard,
your team.
Chris Ballard failed to address needs in the offseason. And the Colts have not drafted a quarterback within the top 3 rounds since Andrew Luck retired. Some of that has been they haven't had a first-round pick. But every year they're changing quarterbacks. They're changing from project quarterback to project quarterback.
Bridges.
Phillip Rivers is with them for 1 year, retires. Next year is Carson Wentz. They revived his career, I guess, somewhat because after he left Philly, he was looked at as one of the worst quarterbacks. At least in Indianapolis, he revived his reputation.
To a degree.
And now Matt Ryan, who I think is still a good quarterback. But Matt Ryan is a quarterback that he has to be, at this stage in his career, in a near-perfect situation. And listen, I know what you're about to say.
Are they still your dark horse?
And listen, I know what you're about to say.
Oh, okay, ignore my question.
But be honest.
Oh, no, it's an I would
be honest and answer these questions.
All of us?
Or just one question. Yeah, all of you.
All right, here. Let's do it.
Did I ever say?
Here we go.
Every time, man.
No. It's not that. Let me finish.
I want him to finish.
Let me finish. This offseason, I was under the assumption Matt Ryan was going to a situation that was a near perfect situation. I know the receivers are a problem.
We didn't think this.
But
we didn't think
other
it was a
than
perfect situation.
that, but Jonathan Taylor not even rushing for 100 yards.
They don't give him the ball.
The run game, he was getting stuffed.
He had 5 carries in the first half.
And all those runs
and then
were
it was
stuffed.
fucking 20-0.
He could change that.
Bro,
Jonathan Taylor, man, all it takes is one.
The thing is that they gave Taylor the ball on early downs.
Get him in the passing game. He's
And
the
then-
best weapon.
I know, but they gave him the ball on
Michael
early downs.
Pittman's out of the game. You don't have Alec Pierce, the highest wide receiver you drafted this season. This past offseason, excuse me.
And Taylor, one
You
catch?
want to give the ball to Jonathan Taylor however you
fuck
can.
else?
And
Get the ball
this
to?
one, I'll get to that.
Naeem Hines.
The Colts had 3 opportunities in the red zone, I believe, or 2. It was one of those. Jonathan Taylor, I think, got 2 carries total in the red zone.
Embarrassing. They did the same shit week 1.
That's why, to me, I look at the Colts and I'm like, this is more than just a Matt Ryan thing. I mean, it's a coaching thing. It's a roster flaw. Did I overlook how much holes the roster had? Yes. But I never came into the season saying that Matt Ryan is going to, he can elevate. I think he's better than Carson Wentz. There's no doubt.
What the fuck? What
You're losing
the fuck?
me.
Listen.
I'm loving this. Keep it going.
Listen,
I'm
listen,
loving this.
listen.
I'm loving this.
Matt
I'm loving
Ryan is still a good quarterback.
Loving it.
I think he's a top 15 quarterback.
15 is the absolute max, and I don't even think he's 15.
But when I've been talking about the
Give me
Colts,
Jalen Hurts. Give
Yeah.
me Tua. It's not even a
agreed.
conversation.
when I've been talking about the Colts, I've been saying that Matt Ryan's in a situation where the team around him is going to complement his skill set.
Give me Carson Wentz.
Therefore, he's going to play well. But if the roster is not around him,
Oh, God.
I'm looking at the Colts these past 2 weeks,
I need to go.
and I'm thinking,
I just want to ask.
is this the Atlanta Falcons? I'm thinking that.
Hey, can I just ask?
Yeah, Atlanta Falcons, who have they played significantly better
Hey,
than the
question.
Indianapolis Colts so far.
You can answer this too.
All right.
And I thought Kyle Pitts was going to be this breakout guy, right?
Yeah, he's
So
also.
So much better with Mariota than Ryan, right?
Hey, 2 weeks in,
Hey,
he hasn't been
Drake
good either.
London,
Lund's been
do the
eating.
superstar.
If you
He passes more to Zacchaeus.
have a
Mistake.
if you have a team,
They got Kyle Pitts blocking on some dumb shit.
very weird.
Bad, yeah.
If you have a team and you believe they're gonna win the division, and you have him as a dark horse that can
Playoff
possibly win a playoff game, do you not think that the quarterback can elevate their play?
Oh, for sure.
Yes. I'm not. Listen, you're taking it the wrong way.
Just asking. Just
You're
asking.
taking it the wrong
How are
way.
we supposed to take
I understand. I understand how you guys are taking it, and that's not what I mean.
Um,
I mean that
Take it, but take it light.
Take a light.
Matt
out
Ryan
boy
in
OG.
Atlanta, that's a poor roster, right? I thought Matt Ryan was a good quarterback in Atlanta, but obviously the roster has so much deficiencies that I don't expect him to carry a roster. What I meant is that at this stage in his career, Matt Ryan can't carry.
hell no.
He
We said
can't-
this. We knew this.
I never said he was going to carry, though.
You said he was significantly better than Wentz.
Yes, I did.
That's
But I
insane.
never-
You
I
said
never
he
said-
was
Take.
the reason.
I never said he was
You
going
said
to carry.
he-
Sounds like the
Oh
same
my
situation
God.
Wentz
No.
was in
You're,
last year.
you're moving the goalposts, bro. It doesn't
I
matter
never
what
said
you
Matt Ryan's
said.
gonna carry.
It doesn't matter
I
what
didn't
you
say that
said.
once.
You were
You
so
said- I
fucking
said that
high on the
once.
Colts. They suck.
It's pretty easy to say.
It's 2 weeks.
It's pretty easy to say.
They
You-
scored 0 points against
Yeah,
Jacksonville.
not scoring a point is
Like,
crazy.
sure, it's 2 weeks. 0 points against Jacksonville is legitimately worrisome.
The main reason why you were so high on the Colts this offseason was because of Matt Ryan.
and they had a great
That's
roster.
the only.
It sounds like the same.
We talked about this.
It sounds like the
It's-
same roster
it's-
Wentz was in.
It's funny because how clear things become after a couple weeks in the NFL. Because the entire offseason, we sat here, wherever you were on the pod, but we sat here, Drew, and said, they have Michael Pittman. The biggest weakness was this wide receiver, too. If Michael Pittman goes out for any extended period of time, it becomes the worst weapon room in the league with or without Alec Pierce. Michael Pittman misses week 2. We see what this offense
They did
is
not
without
score 8
him.
points.
They are terrible. This is an offense that is one of the worst in the league without him because Matt Ryan, while he's an average quarterback, if things around him are not perfect,
I
he's
wouldn't
not
say-
going to be able to be great.
I wouldn't say perfect.
It has to be damn near perfect.
That's a fucking stretch.
No.
With Michael Pittman only, which is even with Michael Pittman, it's not a perfect situation. He threw for 350 plus
They
and
tied
almost
with
had a
the
fourth quarter
Texans.
comeback.
They went to
so
overtime.
let's stop acting like Matt Ryan can't play well if the situation's not perfect. He played well in Atlanta, and the situation
They
was not
tied
perfect.
with Houston and lost to Jacksonville. This is a team. I'm not just because it's more than Matt
and Denver
Ryan. You're
almost
right.
lost to Houston, and you have to make the playoffs.
But they have Russell Wilson.
I'm-
They have 2 wide receivers.
No, I know, but
they
you're-
have 2 running backs.
I'm not comparing that.
We got multiple
I'm
tight
saying
ends,
the
too.
fact that you're saying
offensive line's good.
you're saying the Colts
Offensive line's
the Colts tied with Houston. the Texans have a great fucking defense this year.
And they just went and beat Houston.
Barely.
They won.
We won.
It's
They
a
didn't tie.
win or lose
They didn't
game.
tie.
So don't act like Houston is just this
They didn't score.
garbage team.
If you think this is
They play
you
hard.
think this is a team that could go to the playoffs, win games,
Their
you should beat
defense is
Houston.
for real.
You shouldn't have 0 points on Jacksonville.
I agree.
Now,
But I just don't like the sly you took at Houston. Like they're playing hard football right now.
Joel, I just want to say this really quick. You spoke a lot. Let's hear what he has to say.
thank you, because I agree. It's not just on Matt Ryan. The wide receiver room out there was the worst in the league. But Joel, did me and Drew not tell you the entire offseason they didn't solve wide receiver 2? You're high on Alec Pierce. I get it.
Paris
He's already
Campbell. Can't
injured.
forget
He was
that.
out.
He was already injured. And week 1, he dropped a touchdown too. Paris Campbell, your guy, who should have been the #1 wide receiver last week, had 0 catches, had 0 receiving yards. He didn't get anything going. Jonathan Taylor, the play calling was a mess. And Matt Ryan, you do not pin this all on him. I understand. He had 3 interceptions. The first one was a fucking duck that was just landed right into the DB's hand. The second one was tipped. I'll give you that. The third one, he was pressured. It was a complete overthrow and his interception. Matt Ryan did not help his case. The offensive weapons are not there. We give, Fields slack and these other teams who don't have the weapons. So I'm not going to put it all on Matt Ryan. But our issue coming into the season was they just have Pittman and JT, of course. But if something happens to Pittman or if he gets taken out of the game, the offense is stagnant. There's nothing you can do. And this is why I worry about the Colts, because Matt Ryan looked old at times. The weapons weren't good. He looked old. His arm did not look great, which is what I said coming into this season. They completed 20% of their third downs. They had 49 plays. The bottom last year was Seattle, who ran 56. They're not even running enough plays to score points. They had 4.5 yards per play. This is not an explosive offense unless JT is able to go and make big plays or if Pittman gets one-on-one coverage. If teams are able to just bracket Pittman and stop JT, this is game over. And defensively, I know we're high on Trevor Lawrence. You can't allow 83% completion percentage. You can't have 0 sacks. I know the offensive line has improved. You got to be able to get some pressure. So this Colts team is a team that I think defensively, especially against Jacksonville, we expect it to be better. I think offensively, it's going to have to be a lot of dink and dunk. Maybe you get some, down the field shots to Michael Pittman. But overall, Matt Ryan's not going to be able to consistently make those plays if he's going to keep getting pressure because his offensive line has really looked bad. It's not all on Matt Ryan. I get it. But you got to go and look what fucking Carson Wentz is doing in Washington too. Because right now he's been, through 2 weeks, not overreacting, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Second in yards, second highest completion percentage, the
There's
most
nothing to roll
20
your
plus
eyes
yard
about,
plays,
though.
the second most 40 plus yard
Why are
plays,
you rolling
a
your
passer
eyes?
rating over 100. You shit on him the entire offseason about how bad he was, why he was the problem they lost. He goes to Washington, who has a plethora of weapons, and he's playing some of the best football 2 weeks, I'll give it to you, in his career. Now, you
not
can't
even
do
killing
Matt
like
Ryan,
that.
who 2 weeks had one good game, one game where he looked like shit. This is a team that has to win through JT. It's a team that has to be able to pass protect from Matt Ryan. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that offensively, and their next 3 games are Chiefs, Titans, at Denver. That's a tough stretch to start your first 5 games when you're
could be
ready
0-5,
0-1-1. It's going to be hard to bounce back from that, given their division is bad. So you might be able to sneak in the playoffs with 8 or 9 wins. Right now,
7.
Right now, like Jacksonville. Right now, if I had to pick, Jacksonville looks like the best team in the AFC South. Trevor Lawrence looked great. We'll get into him a little bit later. But if you're the Colts, you have to be worried. It was an embarrassing loss.
I apologize that I didn't think Michael Pittman was going to get hurt. I apologize. I didn't know.
But the lack
I
of
will say
wide
this.
receiver depth is scary.
I will
we
say
said
this.
that coming into the
I will
season.
say this.
They have no wide receiver too.
That's not even like, I understand the receivers are a big problem. My problem on Sunday was they just looked unprepared. That's my biggest problem was with the coaching. Like, I understand the receivers, the talent is not there. You don't run the ball with Jonathan Taylor. You're getting penalized. You're turning 3rd and 4 situations into 3rd and 9. You're putting Matt Ryan in a tougher position. It's an undisciplined football team right now.
This is Frank
It's just
Reich.
so much.
This is Frank Reich, who you said are one of the best coaches in the league last week. And I said in the regular season, sure, he showed us
he's
some
one of the
things.
he's definitely one of the better offensive play callers.
He's shown us some things in the regular season. He has 1 playoff win.
I
It
get
was
it.
with Andrew Luck at quarterback.
Let's add
so if you
context.
can't win in the regular season, if he starts off 0-3 or whatever with the fucking tie, the seat's going to get hot.
I don't want to hear that from you. Let's add context. That conversation was comparing Hackett and Frank Reich. It's not a fucking comparison.
You still called him one of the best coaches in the league, regardless if we're comparing Hacker and I still come one of the best in the league.
One of the better offensive play callers.
Scored 0 points on Jackson.
That whole conversation was about Hackett versus Frank Reich.
But it was, but regardless, the statement alone you said is Frank Reich one of the best coaches in the league.
Hackett cannot even compare to Frank Reich's resume, bro. As a play caller.
He already got more wins this year than him.
He scored more.
Well, one.
Sing.
Nathaniel Hackett literally did nothing in Green Bay.